Dun 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 dun. Downtown. Shift. Link. Enter. Edit. Settings. Open a new window. Update. Update. And view page. And look. And there I am. All right, we are all plugged in and ready to roll. Bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum. Come on in, everybody. Have a seat. Let me know if you can hear me. Just listen to the silver. I'm gonna learn to sing. That's gonna be my next thing. No, it's not. It's 4:24. We're gonna start in 6 or 7 minutes. And we'll see how it goes. Christine, loud and clear. Hey, Red. Um, I blew it with Nikki today. I was supposed to have a lesson with her today. I thought I had set her up for the time, and then she says I didn't. And I, of course, when I'm looking at it, I didn't. So if you talk to her, let her know that I will be sending her an email out as soon as we're done with lessons today. I blew it. I blew it. Can you imagine me making a mistake? So anyway, tell her I'm sorry if you talk to her. Otherwise, I will get it handled. I know it's it works out that it's just easier that way. I'm always the bad guy, right? Easier, faster. Hey, Lynn, welcome. How's that ukulele working out? Oh, we got a lot of people logging in real fast here. She'll be fine. She didn't practice anyway. Well, I didn't practice either, so I think that seems to be an unnecessary burden when it comes to making music. Coming along, yay, Lynn! That's exciting. New ukuleles are always such a blast. Love it. Tuning, yeah, tuning. It's I one of the things I do a lot is get classroom sets for school teachers, and so I end up bringing in 30 or 60 ukuleles at a time. And of course, I don't want to just drop them off and say good luck tuning them, so I always bring them in early, a week or two early, and then I tune them up for them. And so I spend all week tuning 30 ukuleles over and over and over, and you get to this point where you're like, I don't like tuning ukuleles anymore. And so yeah, I get it. I absolutely understand when you're get a new ukulele, you're like, oh gosh, here we go. Hey Danny, how are you? Egads, yeah. One of the things that is you wish it was a little bit more straightforward process, like on guitars when they have metal strings, you tune them out, tune them next day, you're fine. But with plastic strings, both guitar and ukulele, man, it is a project to get those things to finally settle in and be what they want to be. And so, yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Hey, Burke, how are you, man? Christine, I actually shaved yesterday. I didn't shave today. I'll take credit for it, though. I'll take credit for it. I've been trying to make myself shave every day because we're in quarantine. under the best of circumstances, my appearance, I spend about this much time on it, and but I thought when you go into quarantine, you're like, well, I don't. Doesn't matter whether I wear pants anymore, and so I have been trying to stay focused in on shaving and wearing pants, and most days I'm getting it done. Let's see. Yeah, Danny. Let's see. Yeah, Lynn has got her new ukulele, everybody. So she's getting that wired for sound. Let's see. Judy, welcome in. Glad you're here today. Let's see. Lindy, one thing that these more advanced lessons you need to seriously consider a concert ukulele instead of a tenor. So, yeah, what I find fascinating is as you get into this more advanced repertoire and as you start working on these skills that really matter, stuff starts to show up. A lot of people they have either too small of a ukulele or too large of a ukulele, and when you're having to do some of this intricate fingering, sometimes you find out, oh, this is harder, or this is easy, or and you start to find out where your ukulele's limits are and all of this. And so that's what's fun about getting yourself the skills and the speed and the thoughtfulness and the mindfulness around making great music. And I think what you find is that very often you don't have the right ukulele, but I'm one of these guys like, yep, the one in your hand is the right ukulele. But you do find that some ukuleles are going to be, and whatever instrument, there are some that are better suited for the type of music you're making at any given time than another. So yeah, interesting. Let's see, La Bomba today. Oh, down to La Bomba. Well, oddly, Danny, you are almost a musical savant. We're going to be talking about Mexican music here in a little bit. Looking at gig bags too, many choices. Um, yeah, Lynn. Oh, hey, Renee. Hi, Laurel. Hi, Caitlin. Um, gig bags. One, I used to always buy these hard cases because I'm a serious musician, and it turns out gig bags are a way better thing to use. Make sure you get one with the backpack straps on it. Heavier padding obviously is better. Probably should cost you, if you get one from me, they're $35 ish or so. So if you're spending less than 35, you're probably getting one with less padding, and that's not ideal. And if you're spending more than that, you're probably buying something you don't need to. So yeah, gig bag should run you about $35 or so. Uh, Backpack straps and lots of padding. That's what you want. Let's see. Oh yeah, I don't know. Have I ever noticed, Lindy, how small your hands are? Maybe we should get you bring you in and have a trial run of a few different ukuleles. Hey, Glenda. Let's see, Alan. Some have a few of each size. Yeah, I have one of each size. I have two sopranos, one concert, one tenor, and then five baritones. I don't know why I don't play them, but I have a whole mess of them. Let's see. Hey, Arlo. I'll have to look after class. Awesome. Hey, Violet, how's Chicago treating you today? I'm trying to think if I know anything about Chicago these days. I've been hearing all sorts of stuff about the governor of Michigan. Everybody's mad at her for some reason or another. But Illinois, yeah, things probably get better as you go south. Let's see. Kathy, welcome in. Good to see you. Hi, Ann. Glad you're back. All the way, logging in all the way almost from Aurora. Let's see. Linda, welcome. Glad you're here today. Pauline, I'm back for more fun, learning to play. Jackie, good to see you. Elizabeth, you're chatting. Oh my gosh, this is a very exciting day. I am thrilled. What the? I hope that you'll be able to tell me what the heck you changed to get yourself to appear again. It's very exciting. Let's see. Let's see. Hi, Patricia. And hi, Patty. Hi, let's see, Danny. Let's see. Oh, there we go. There's Dan. There's Danny's email. Spam him with all sorts of ukulele questions. Hey, Mike. Welcome in. Tanya. Tanya, it probably has worked. I have not been keeping up with email because I keep telling myself I'm going to get my normal computer back, and I am way behind on email. So I have a vague recollection of seeing something come in from you, baritone related. And so please, I do apologize. Let me give me a couple more days. I've been calling the shop every couple of days. Do you have my computer back? And they're like, oh, it'll be tonight or tomorrow. And it's always tomorrow. So pass the department on. Hi, Julianne. So yeah, guys, I do know and a number of you have sent me emails, and in the best of circumstances, I'm really iffy at keeping up with emails, and but it's really bad right now. The Dell computer that I have here is just so unpleasant to work on that I am just kind of the stuff that I don't have to do. I'm putting off until I get my laptop back, I'm hoping for tomorrow. I don't know. It's supposed to have been several days ago, and so I don't know. What can you do? So anyway, I have got emails from lots of you guys. I do eventually get back to you. um, Elizabeth, you changed nothing. Okay. Well, it worked. Let's see. Jerry, happy Thursday to you. Let's see. Who else? Hi, Linda. How are you? Let's see. Partially 100 degrees in Phoenix. Oh my gosh, so hot. Supposed to be 80 something here today, but the clouds moved in a lot more, so it's still pretty warm, but it's not as bad as they said it was going to be. So let's see. Not a reason I can't go anywhere. I know, right? Stuff that feels like an emergency. The funny part is when you're stuck at home, things are way less of an emergency than you think they are. And so I've noticed, like, I'll be sitting around here and I'll start spinning about something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta get that done. It's so critical. And it's just because you have too much time to think, right? And then all of a sudden you sit down and you're like, wait a minute, I'm all worried about nothing. This is nothing, right? What I should be worried about is playing ukulele. Let's see. Hey, Patricia, welcome in. Texas, continuing to keep the faith. Hey, Vicky, welcome in. Logging in from up north. All right, guys, got most of us in, and then we'll have our, those guys that think that they're too good for Spaghetti Monster. They'll be logging in here in just a little bit. Let's do a little bit of review. Those of you guys that are newer. We want to talk about what's working for you, what's not working for you. I'm feeling like I'm kind of close to the screen here, so let me scoot back just a little bit. We want to make sure as we proceed into the next phase of your musical development that you understand we are about to take you to a place that you can't come back from. So in other words, when we give you a ukulele and we say, hey, let's go play Riptide, or let's play Over the Rainbow, or let's play, what are the other things? Train, Soul Sister, and Wagon Wheel, and what are the other ones that we do it all of the Big Rock Candy Mountain, that list that we do at every ukulele strum along. That's a great place to go. That's a place where we take your ukulele and your chords and your best singing abilities, and you go and you have a great time. And so make sure you know that you are probably going to not find that as quite as rewarding anymore after today. Okay, because what we're going to do today is we're going to take this instrument and we're going to put some chords together. We're going to put some melody together. We're going to bring all of that together. You're not going to have to sing anymore unless you want to. And of course, lots of people want to, but lots of you shouldn't be singing. And lots of us, like me, I have to sing, and golly, it's just brutal. What we really are talking about at this point is turning you into an instrumental player. And that is a place where you can spend the rest of your life quite happily trying to get the best stuff out of something like this. And you will find that there are other ways of playing become less and less interesting to you. I'm delighted that when I look at our list of people that come into this room, we have some very fine players who are joining us every single day, and who are working at a really high level. And what's interesting about that is that we're kind of playing pop songs, right? I mean, and we have a whole nother, there's this level upon level upon level of creating complexity in music that we can be working on. Um, and all of a sudden, you know, this becomes a little less interesting. And what becomes fascinating is the detail work and the complexity of what we want, what the instrument and music, and being a fine arranger and presenter of music. It's a different place that you get to go. Not very many ukulele players go where we're going to go, and I would say in this city probably at this point, I don't know, a couple thousand ukulele players, and about 150, 200 of them know, you know, instrumental style and what you do with that. And so just know you're about to become somebody living in a new land, and maybe there's nobody else in that island. And so just know you're about to go someplace exciting, for, in my opinion, the good place. Have you seen? By the way, you guys see that show? It's hilarious. It's called The Good Place. You can binge it on Netflix, and it was worth it. We watched all of them. All right, so why Spaghetti Monster? So if you don't know who the Spaghetti Monster is, after the lesson today, go Google it. It's sort of amusing. It's kind of a spoof on religion, and with the Spaghetti Monster as the main person. And years ago, before I was doing anything with ukulele, or I had just started in ukulele or something, I wrote a novel, and it was called, let's see, The Flying Spaghetti Monster and Her Plastic Ukulele. And so I must have just been starting ukulele. And it was, I'm going to go on record and say it was the worst novel ever written. Absolutely abysmal. But as I started messing around more and more with ukulele, this was a song I wrote just for fun, and it turns out that it is really a nice introduction into chord melody arrangements. And it's pretty playable. It's going to make you sound amazing. And the reason I like to teach it here is that I want this to be your first memorized song, because what will happen when word's going to get out that you're a ukulele player, somebody's going to figure it out. And the first thing when somebody finds out you play ukulele is play me something. And when we're new ukulele players, we don't have anything to play and we don't know anything. And so I want you to know this thing. And then when you go to a music shop and you're like, oh, there's still a couple of music shops still in business, not very many, but if you happen to find one, you go in there and you go over the ukulele section and you mess around and you're looking. You don't buy anything, of course, because everything comes from Amazon now, but it's a little bit of a joke, not really very funny. And before you leave, what I want you to do is play this song and then walk out, right? What I do, I play 5'2" Eyes of Blue, 5'2" Eyes of Blue, and then I walk out. That's the very last thing I always do before leaving a music store. And I know in my head that entire sales team there in the music stores the rest of the day is thinking 5'2" Eyes of Blue. Okay, I want you to have one song that makes you sound absolutely beautiful on the ukulele. You can change the words to this if you want. It doesn't matter. Change it. Tell them it's a piece written by Schubert or something, and you'll end up with a really fine sounding instrumental. Okay, so let's go through how I approach this and how I think you should approach it, and then you'll memorize it by the end of the night, and you'll have your first piece of repertoire to use as a weapon against other people. Okay, so looking at measure one, lots of important information there. I write up there. Remember, use index is 1. Middle is 2, and ring is 3. That's a central part of what we do in all ukulele playing is this 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, and it's called first position because this is on the first fret. If we were on 4, it'd be 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we'd be in fourth position. Okay, so that's a pretty important thought process. Okay, use a rest stroke, and when we get there, I'll tell you what that means. I do have a harmonica tablature on here. At some point, I don't remember why. I must have thought that the harmonica players at some point, but that's what the numbers underneath the lyrics are, is the harmonica tablature. Now, what we want to do is ignore the fact that chords are up there. Okay, this is a piece that has really sweet chords in it on accident. I did not mean to put all these smart chords in there. I was looking for something that was easy to play, and smart chords ended up coming out because that's just what happened. But you have in this piece, you have a major chord, you have a major seventh. That's a jazz chord. We don't let you have jazz chords until your third year in music school. You have a sixth chord, which is a Hawaiian chord. You don't see sixth chords a lot outside of Polynesian music. They do come in. We do find them, but not a ton. That's the place where Hawaiian chords, because of the ukulele, actually, why we see so many of those. And then the other chord that you have in there down at major 8 is a rock power chord, which is very funny. It's a G's and C's only on a C chord, and that turns it into this rock power chord. And if you plug into an amplifier, it sounds amazing. Okay, so those are your chords that you're going to have, but you're not going to worry about those because you're about to graduate from chords-ish, and we are going to really focus in on playing the melody. Then we're going to go back through and put the chords underneath that. Okay, so measure 0 is when you listen to a lot of the sheet music, I will put in click, 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 click at the beginning of the sound file. So that's why very often my measure 0 is just blank. Okay, so just know that's really set there for the MP3, which hopefully you're using to learn a song before you tackle the sheet music. Now, measure 1 says 0, 0, 0, 0. All you have to do is hit the right strings. Let's play that. 0, 0, 0, 0. That's it. That's all you're going to do. Third string, second string, third, second, third, second. Okay, and remember, tablature's upside down. For those of you who are new, that's probably still a little bit of a perplexity. And for those of you who've been around a while, you're like, why is he still talking? Why isn't he just playing? Okay, measure 2, you've got your ring finger on 3 of the first string, and you're going to pluck that twice. Okay, so now let's play measures 1 and 2. Oh, 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 3, 3. Measure 3 and 4 are almost identical, except instead of a 3, you're going to now play a 2. Let's play measures 3 and 4. Oh, 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 2, 2. Measure 5 and 6 are almost the same, except now you're going to play with nothing held down. So go to measure 5, ready, play. Oh, 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 oh. Okay, and then measure 7 and 8, you're going to come back up the fretboard where you already were. So do a 2, 2, and then a 3. And then we're going to do a little bunny hop. Okay, and I will say the word bunny hop because I think it's funny. Okay. Index finger will go from the first string to the second string, and then you're going to pluck that note. Okay, so I want to play measures 1 through 8. From the top, ready, play. Oh, 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 3, 3. Oh, 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 2, 2. Oh, 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 2, 3. Bunny hop. Okay. Pretty, there's a little bit of motion in there, a little bit of melody going on, just enough to make it sound pretty, right? And then we're going to get to the hard part. This is the hard part. 1, 0, 2, 0. Okay. So we're going to do a 1 on the second string. We're talking measure 9 now, by the way. 1, and then an open, open, then a 2, 2, open, and a 3 on that second string again. 3, 3. So that's measures 9 and 10. 10 and 11, or I'm sorry, 11 and 12 are identical. So let's play measures 11 and 12 together. Ready, play. 1, oh, 2, oh, 3, 3. And then the last two measures are pretty close to the same. A little minor variation. Instead of 1020, we're going to play 1023, and then we're going to put a big 3 in on the end. Okay, so let's go to measure 13 and play. 1, 2, 3, and then bunny hop back. 3. Okay, so that's what we're looking for, is just this nice, soft, pretty melody that's going in there. We're gonna play the whole thing top to bottom. I mean, see, got a bunch of activity over here. Let's see, who did I say hi or didn't say hi? Hey, Kat, welcome in. Caitlin. Uh, oh yeah, The Good Place. It's an awesome show. It's really fun. Hey, Gail. Let's see, Cyril, Edward, and Danny. It's a G. It's a G chord, but there's a C in the bass. Generally speaking, with a ukulele, if there's slash and another letter after it, that's telling you that there's a bass note. Generally speaking, we ignore those types of things in ukulele playing, but I wanted to be super accurate on this one since it's one of those early pieces that we study. And so it's a G chord, but there's a C in the bass instead of a D in the bass, which is typical on ukulele. Okay. You're not going to run into that chord often, so don't worry about it too much. Okay, let's play the whole thing top to bottom. 1, 2, ready, play. Oh, 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 3, 3. Oh, 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 2, 2. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 2, 3, bunny hop. 3, 1, oh, 2, oh, 3, 3, 3. Okay, pretty little melody. Plenty there to keep you busy, keep you thinking about it. If you remember yesterday's discussion about the C scale, where these are the notes on the C scale, you'll notice I used every single note on the C scale. I just arranged them in kind of a creative order to where it sounds pretty, and that's what we're after. Cyril was asking for a pretty song today, so here it comes, right? My Spaghetti Monster. So I want to play the melody one more time, and then we'll finish it up by talking about chord melody, which is when you officially leave Earth. Okay, from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's the melody, just the melody. Okay, but now we want to turn you into a chord melody player, which turns you into officially a finger style ukulele player, which takes you to that grown up level that a lot of people that all adult ukulele players probably should be aspiring to. Look, let's turn this into more than just a hobby. Let's turn this into an aggravating musical experience. Okay, now look down at Tough Uke. If you will read through Tough Uke, you will notice the only difference between the melody line and the Tough Uke line is sometimes I'm going to have a whole bunch of zeros and I'm going to drag my thumb down to cover a whole bunch. Just drag my thumb down over the strings until I hit the melody note. Now, it's all pretty straightforward, clear up until you get to measure 8, and then you see 0, 0, 3. So your melody note is here, okay? And you're going to drag your thumb down, and you've got to be careful not to accidentally have this first string go off because you're not supposed to play that note. It says 0, 0, 3, so you're going to go just like that. That's what you're looking for. Call it a rest stroke. Your thumb is going to come down and it's physically going to rest on the string. You're not going to play as if it were a hammock. Okay? And I have said that exact phrase 50,000 times in my teaching career. Your thumb is going to come down until it hits the string you are not going to play, and then it's going to rest on that string as if it is a hammock. Okay, what that does is it makes sure that string doesn't accidentally go off. It also has a happy consequence of when you hit this last string, you're probably going to hit it a tiny bit harder as you're busy trying to get your rest stroke done. And it's going to bring that one note out a little bit, which is what we want anyway, because that's where the melody is. Okay, so we're now going to play Tough Uke. the minute you get to the bottom of this, you're going to pat yourself on the back because you are officially a chord melody player. You're officially a finger style ukulele player. Okay. When we get to, just remember you're reading tough uke, and just remember it's a thumb down stroke. Okay. From the top, 1, 2, ready, play. Oh, 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 strum. Don't let up on this. Let your ukulele ring out until it's completely done making noise, and then go pat yourself on the back, give yourself a hug your ukulele, and say you are officially a chord melody player. You are officially a fingerstyle ukulele player. You are officially a grown up in the world of music. You should note, if I play trumpet, if I play trombone, if I play tuba, if I play clarinet, if I play uh, flute, if I play one or the other ones, most of the instruments in an orchestra, I can only play one note at a time, and I'm relying on my team to create the chord. Okay, some instruments you can beat the chord and the melody at the same time. Ukulele, guitar, piano, harp, violin, and those instruments to a partial extent. Pretty hard to do a complete chord on those instruments, but you can kind of fake it a little bit. With this instrument, you can be the whole entire symphony and the violin or flute section, right? Because they usually end, or not usually, a lot of times they end up with the melody on those higher pitched instruments, and so you get to be all of those jobs all at once, and that's what we're working toward, right? It's getting you so comfortable with this that there's no other way you'd want to play in your life other than being the whole show. You want to be the Jake Shimabukuro of your neighborhood, okay? Or maybe the whole world. Let's just move him out of the way. He's getting old. He's getting on. All right. So that was wonderful. Oh, thank you, Sandy. So let's play it one more time. Those of you who like singing, the words on here are absolutely precious. I spent a lot of time really digging deep in there to figure out how to get the words Pastafarian in there. And so don't think that I didn't put a lot of thought into this. But absolutely, if you like the melody and you're thinking, I could turn this into something that sounds super official, change the words and do what you need to with it. Okay, we're going to do it one more time, all the way top to bottom. See how close you can get, how beautiful. You notice I'm playing slow. I'm trying to get every note to sound out and ring out beautiful. If you'll memorize this, probably have it done by the end of the night, you will then have a lifelong song. When somebody says, hey, play me something on ukulele, you play them this, because one, they can't sing along. They don't know the words, so they're not going to mess you up by singing. You're creating this incredibly beautiful simultaneous chord and melody project, and their ears are going to be like, man, you're really, really a good player. Teach me how to do it, right? And you've got all of the tools ready to go. Okay, I'm starting you a small business. Okay. Don't plan on it being your retirement. All right, here we go from the top. 1, 2, ready, play. My spaghetti monster playing ukulele, flying through the rainbow with my heart. Tasty marinara, yummy parmesan, we're Pastafarians. Go ahead. Try to find a greater song than that one. All right. So work on that one, especially if you're a new player and you're thinking, I would love to be able to play ukulele, and I am not particularly excited about singing. And as you know, when you go around with a ukulele, everything that gets put in your face is about singing. Uh, and this is a way to play without doing that, and it's a way to really get the best out of your ukulele, and frankly, the best out of you, because now you are relying on your skills as an instrumentalist to make this beautiful piece of music come to life. I'm not overselling this song at all. This is the greatest song ever. Okay, let's go to. For a long time, I didn't even have my name on it. Let's see. Let's go down to what are we doing downtown? All right, enough fooling around. Let's talk about this mess. All right. Can you take a moment to say, all right, I'm going to now go on to a much harder activity, and it's going to be okay. All right, so you guys downloaded Downtown and you looked at it, and I hope the first thought was, oh my goodness, what the heck is going on here? So, with this song, I think it is almost essential for you to go listen to that MP3 a few dozen times. What's going on here? This has this bossa nova and multiple different chord structure, not chord structure, but different rhythm structures in the background. Um, when you're alone and may like well, let me sing it right. When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go bing bing downtown. So this got this real cool rhythm in it, and I want you to know that that's really difficult to do on a single instrument. You can probably do it if you decided this is the song I want to play. I'm going to kill this thing. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this. It is theoretically possible that you can do this whole thing yourself. Okay. However, for most of us mortals, that's not probably going to happen. So I gave you a Uke 2 thing here. And I got all kinds of activity going on over here. What's going on? Let me say hi to some people. Let's see. Danny, Cindy. Oh, Joyce is finally showing up. She heard there was hard music going on, and she says, "I want to be here." Hi, Louise. Welcome in, Jerry. Good to see you. Okay, would you please talk about the finger position for downtown? Talk about the finger position. Yeah, heck yeah. Let's see if I'll talk through the song, and then Linda at the end, if you'll say. You didn't answer any of my questions, and just we can sum up at the end. We got plenty of time today to work on this one. All right. What we're talking about when we get these cool rhythms in is, hey, Fran, is that we often want to separate you into two different groups. We want the rhythm players and we want the melody players, or we want, and how we think of it in the guitar world, you think of it as the lead guitarist and the rhythm guitarist. And here's what you want to know. You're spending all this time learning to read tablature. In Led Zeppelin, there was 4 guys. Okay. The guy that matters was not the singer, it was the lead guitarist. Okay. Jimmy Page is sort of this weirdo legend kind of thing, and he's busy making sure nobody puts Stairway to Heaven up on YouTube right now. That's his main job, is to keep Stairway to Heaven off of YouTube. We know him because he was the lead guitarist. And we know most of the time when we think about the lead guitarist, it's the guy you know in the band. Then there's this other guy. He stands on that side of the stage. We don't know his name. Okay, he's the rhythm guitarist. And a lot of times that guy is even a better guitar player than the lead guitarist, but we don't care about that. We care about this guy doing this cool melody and these cool riffs and all this stuff. And it's the same thing is going to happen when you start deciding, I'm going to play with somebody else. Somebody's got to decide to be melody, right? The problem with playing melody is people know when you blow it. People know when you make a mistake. You guys hear me do it all of the time. When I'm busy going along and I miss a fret or whatever, I blow it, and you're like, yeah, that guy doesn't know what he's doing, right? So playing melody is a very dangerous activity, but it's the one that gets you the accolades. It's the one people are like, oh boy, you really know what you're doing. It's probably quite a bit easier at the end of the day. At the end of the day, if you're playing one note at a time, probably a little bit easier. then playing rhythm, which you are working on making sure your chords are, but then you got to get this crazy rhythm pattern in here. And so we're going to talk about a little bit. Unfortunately, because of our structure here, when it comes to our concert tomorrow, I won't be able to do that. Yeah, I'm going to play the tough uke like I always do, poorly, and then you're going to maybe you'll decide to play the rhythm section tomorrow. But we'll talk about why it looks like such a mess and why I wanted to give you everything just to get you thinking about the possibilities for when you start hanging out with other people and playing music, that you've got choices. And sometimes those choices are harder than you think. And sometimes they absolutely are wonderful and easy, and all this stuff's going to go great. So we'll take just a brief overview of finger position for the melody line. Okay, we'll talk about that. We take a brief overview of the chords. Okay, so you got C chord, we can live with that one. You got an F chord, we can live with that one. You got a G chord, we can live with that one. And then take a look. If you go down through the rest of your pages, measure 14, you finally get an A minor, and at measure 17, you get an E minor. Everything else, you know how to do. Okay, so if you are a singer or if you are from the traditional ukulele program, this is the kind of song you're looking for, right? It's got your five basic intro to ukulele chords, and that's what we want, right? So if you are a singer, um, when you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go. Okay, you're all set. So sing it that way. Okay, and again, I'm not against that way of playing it at all. I think it's super fun. But if you're not a singer, then this is what you get given. You get this, and you're like, all right, now you have to sing, and you got to sing as good as Patsy Cline, and you're going to fail. And you're going to do that for about 40, 50 songs, and you're going to fail on all of them because you don't sound anything like the singers and then you're going to put your ukulele in the closet. Now you don't have to do that. So now we're going to go in, we're going to look at the melody position, we'll go look through the tough uke, and then we'll talk about how you can get a friend of yours to play this crazy rhythm patterns. And what's also exciting about this song is that the rhythm doesn't stay the same. Each section gets its own rhythm to it. And so there's a lot to think about and to study. At the end of the day, if you're crummy at playing rhythm, you can always play four strums, right? Where does it start? When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always go. So you don't have to do anything fancy, but it will sound cooler if you do some of this kind of stuff, right? And so that's where you start getting into not the strum pattern that is handed down to you on high by somebody on the internet. That's when you sit down and say, I know a lot about music at this point. I know a lot about putting chords together. I'm going to take Gary's written out rhythms as suggestion. I'm going to see if I can get close. I'm going to see if it's worth the work. And then we'll come up with a final product. I have a really great friend here in Denver who I've been hanging out with for many, many years. And she and I used to play duets all the time. We would go to weddings and do all this stuff. And she would we would get music together, we were going to play, and she would hand me her idea of what we were going to play, and I would take that as advice, and it made her so mad, right? Because she'd worked really hard to get these things together, and sometimes I played them exactly like she wanted it, and not often, but sometimes I followed directions, and then other times I wanted to do what I thought was a better idea, and sometimes my better idea was more complicated. Lots of time, my better idea was less complicated. So you get the choice of what am I going to do with my strumming and what am I going to do with my chords to emphasize or to make the song be what I want it to be. And so, hey Annie, so we're going to now go through the melody, and when I go through there, Linda's asking, hey, let's talk about finger position, and so it's absolutely an important idea. So let's look at let's skip over that intro. Okay, skip over the intro. Let's go to measure 5. Okay, that's where the lyrics start. The first thing I notice is I've got lots of 3s. I got 5s and 7s. Okay, so my first thought is I'm going to probably be in 3rd position, which makes this 4, this 5, and this 6. That's going to allow my pinky to get up to 7. Okay, so I'm probably thinking third position. There's definitely a caveat to that in that when you get into the middle of measure 6, you've got some 2s. And so now I got to think, well, maybe I should do here and then reach way up to get that 7. Nah, I don't like that. So I'm going to start on third position. And then when I go to those 2s, I'm going to slide this guy down. And when I get to those 7, I'm going to slide that up. That seems to create the least amount of work in my mind. Okay, let's find out how it works. Let's just play those first 3 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy, I didn't do a good job on it. Let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. When you're alone and life is making you lonely, you can always be. Look at that. I'm really blowing that. So let's go through. No wonder Linda is asking about this, right? 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 0, 3, 0, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, 7, 3. Yeah, I definitely think the third position is the correct position to do those few notes on. And so I would be sitting here and then I would be practice that a bunch of times. Okay. And it didn't feel particularly natural. Again, we're taking a song that was built for an orchestra and smashing it down onto here. So sometimes it works on ukulele, sometimes it's a little crazy. And this one was going to take a little bit of work. So if I were going to be getting ready to play on Thursday or Friday tomorrow, and I wanted to really nail this, I'd work on making sure my fingering is making sense. Do it 10 or 12 times until your fingers are like, yep, I go here. And then when I'm on the 2, I might use my pinky for 5 and then go back to the 2 and then jump it up to the middle on the 3 and they're on 7. I'm going to really work that through because that didn't feel comfortable any other way. I am convinced that third position is the best starting point. After that, we might want to work on a little bit. Okay, measure 8. Let's go on the next page. You've got downtown. That's the only part. I was super happy on that when I figured that out. You got a C, G. Okay, so that's the notes we're going to be playing 3, 3. That's going to come up a bunch of times. Okay, so then let's go ahead and do the next 3 measures, and you're going to notice they're the same as the first 3 measures. Okay, from measure 9, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, 7, 3. Gosh, I'm really blowing the ending. Let me do it one more time from the top, from measure 9. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 3, 0, 3, 2, 5, 2, 3, 7, 3. Okay, so I'm noticing my tendency when I drop down to 2, my tendency is then to be thinking, oh, I got to get this 5 somehow. I probably should grab it with my pinky. 2, 5, 2, and then I'm going to jump all the way up to 7. Or I'm sorry, up to 3 and then 7. So it's 2, 2, 5, 2, 3, 7, 3. So that's probably the motion, right? When you're stuck on 2 and you end up kind of stuck there because of that 5 and 2 going back and forth, that when you get your 3 on that middle finger, jump your pinky up there and then be ready to come back here. So that's probably a compromise between those 2 positions, mostly in third position. But when I do end up in second position, I know I'm going to have to slide up to that 7 to get that. So I got to slide 2 frets on that one. All right. Great, Linda. Find the thing that I needed to talk about and didn't know I needed to talk about. All right. And then measure 12, obviously, bum, bum, downtown. Okay. Then we get into a whole new idea. So the first section, if you look at the ukulele 2, which is the bottom 2 measures, you see one particular type of pattern going on, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And then when you get to measure 13, where the idea in the song changes, you'll see down in accompaniment line, ukulele too, that also changes, right? So now you're going to have rest, rest, chunk, chunk, rest, chunk, chunk, rest, chunk, chunk, rest, chunk, chunk. Okay, that's a fun thing to do when you have a second player who wants to play a song with you. Come up with different patterns for different parts of the song because they're telling different stories. Okay, now at measure 13, you notice the melody gets pretty it starts to disappear a little bit. You can even tell just by looking at the way the standard notation goes up there at 13 and 14. Just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Okay, that's what we're working on. Okay, so let's give that a try. Again, we're starting on 3, and then we've got a bunch of 7. And then that will mean that our 5 is going to get that middle finger, and then the 8 will jump that up to get the use our pinky and then come back. So let's try it and see how it goes. I'm going to start with my index finger on 3 and my pinky on 7. That's what I'm thinking will make the most sense. So let's give it a try. I'm going to count 3, then give me a little breath, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. Okay, let's try this again. From 3, from there. Ready, go. Just listen to the music. The is a drop. Let's try it again. You're probably just working on it on your own. Probably a good idea. Let's see if I can get it on my own. Ready? Go. 3. Listen to the music of the traffic in the city. That's moving all over the place, isn't it? So that's going to be one of those things where you're probably going to need to work it a few times until you really decide, yep, this is the best fingering choice for this, and then stick with it. Because the other possibility on this one is, hey, what if I anchor myself at 5 and then just reach down and get that 3 and then come back up? Maybe I've got more covered. So let's try that. If I'm going to anchor my pinky on 8, I do just listen to the music of the traffic in the city. That's a possibility, right? And so I've got to decide, do I want to anchor up here on 5, or would it be smarter to anchor up on 3? My natural tendency, what I tend to go for is I want to be anchored on the low note, and then I'm going to probably be working to get my pinky up to the higher note. But you could make that other decision as well. Anchor your pinky on the high note, and then use your index finger to come down for your lower notes. You have to decide which one is going to be less dangerous for you, more likely to be successful. I don't think there's necessarily a right answer to that. And there's certainly not an official standard for how to finger that. The one thing that you guys probably are sensing, boy, Gary puts a lot of notes on this top string. And the reason I like it, anytime I can get a melody to hang around on this top string, that means I got the option of giving as much of the chord on the other 3 strings as possible. So I love it when I see a melody going. Okay, that melody's all hanging out on one string. That means that I can absolutely take advantage of letting what you see in the tough uke line is I'm going to go, and these 3 strings are going to be ringing the whole time I'm busy trying to get the melody knocked out, and it's just going to create this depth of sound coming out of your instrument that sounds really nice. Okay, so let's move on to the next page. Again, measures 15 are pretty close. 14 and 15 are going to end up being pretty close. Let me start that again. Measure 15 and on is going to be pretty close to what we just played. So I'm going to go start with my ring finger on 7 and try this lower position, see how it feels. Ready, play. Linger on sidewalk where the neon lights are pretty. Okay. I don't know. I don't like that necessarily. I'm going to probably go back to my Pinky on 7. Linger on the sidewalk where the oh, I'm still on 5. The neon lights are pretty. I don't know if I like that either. So I don't know if I have a good solution to what's the best fingering here. This is exactly why Linda brought this up. She's like, I'm not seeing a really consistent and a clear example of what I should do here. And I don't think I'm finding that either. So I'm going to pick one and stick with it. Okay. And I will probably end up using the tough uke as really my guide to what I should do, because you notice when you start getting in like measure 16, where you've got 3 5 3 2 0 3, it seems complicated when you're playing it from a melody perspective. But when you look at the chord melody in the tough uke line, you've got this A minor. Well, now it's very clear to me where I'm going to have my fingering choices. Okay, so just know if you decided, hey, I'm just going to play straight melody, you probably have your work cut out and probably lots of choices of how to finger that one. But when you get to the tough uke part, where you're going to have chords in there as well, it's going to probably clear up, and you're going to have a whole different set of problems to face. Okay, all right. Let's see. Now, those of you guys who know this song, sometimes I have to make compromises that don't make any sense. She sings this, and because singers have so much ability to cross over measures, she actually sings this. All the next 3 measures are just a mess with her all over the place. Um, it's not a mess for her; it's beautiful. But for us as instrumental players, I kind of had to clean it up and sort of get the chords where they happen at a certain place. It was just really challenging to get these next 3 measures figured out. So they're not exactly the same timing as she does in the recording, but you're an instrumentalist and she's not hanging out with you. I don't think. Patsy, are you listening in? If she's not, you can adjust that just a tiny bit. So what we're going to, how can you lose? The lights are much brighter there. Okay, so it's hard to get the exact rhythm, but we're not talking about complicated playing here. How can you lose the lights, the da 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 da. And it starts to clean up about measure 20. That gets a lot simpler and a lot clearer. I'm going to listen to that MP3 about 90 times to figure out what I really want to do at 17, 18, and 19. And so you should probably do the same thing. That's a complicated section in there because the orchestra is slowing down a little bit, and she's starting to really cross over measures with her vocal portion of that, and it sounds beautiful because she has a whole orchestra with her and she's a great singer. You have one instrument, and so you've got to kind of see what you can do to mimic that, but not necessarily, but you're not going to be successful with just one instrument. Let's see, Joyce, she anticipates the beat in many places, and you will find what Joyce is saying is she anticipates the beat. She sometimes, that means she comes in a little early, right? And you'll see that in a lot of pop music where the singer is a great singer and they'll come in early. And you're like, what are you doing? And we're not ready for that chord isn't right, but it sounds really beautiful in a lot of cases. And so that rhythmic coolness that's happening there, she's taking advantage of that. And so I simplified that because it's going to sound nicer when you get to this to actually play it. And so, yeah, it's very challenging work through that section. Did Petula Clark sing this? I vaguely remember that name. Yeah, Petula Clark. She's the one who made this famous. I think she probably had other songs that were famous as well, but this was her number one. This was her big one. Petula Clark. What's the name? Petula. Yeah, Petula. That's her real name, I think. And if you're a Seinfeld fan, you'll remember there's an episode where George is told to go downtown to get something from the head office, but he doesn't know what he's supposed to get, and he doesn't know why he's going down there. He just knows that it's downtown. And so there's this scene of him and Jerry sitting in the coffee shop, and they're going through the words of this song, trying to figure out if there's some clue in the song as to why George needs to go downtown. And so it's one of those hilarious things. I've got all the Seinfelds memorized, I think, at this point. So, all right, let's forge on ahead. Measure 20. You can forget all your troubles, forget all your cares. So you go downtown. Okay. You can forget all your troubles. So there's this rising action here through this section. So again, go listen to the MP3 just a little bit so you can get it right. But it's 0 2 3 5 3 5 5 5 3 5 3 5 3 5, and then that last 5 at measure 21, you're gonna hold it, slide up to 10. Okay, 10. Okay. G, E. So before we were playing it as a C, G. Now we're playing it as a G, E. Okay, because her voice goes way up there. She can do that. Okay, and so we're playing different notes on our instrument just because she's gone ahead and raised up the whole idea, and you'll see how that works. Let's see. Let's see. Don't sleep the subway is another song. Don't sleep in the subway. Oh, I like that idea. And then Joyce says her real given name was Sally Clark. So Sally is our singer, okay? From Sally to Petula. Yeah, back in the day, if you had a weird name, you would take on a normal name because you thought people didn't want anything to do with you, or if you were ethnic, right? And now, if you have a weird name, you want to keep that name, and you'd like to make it even weirder because when you Google your name, you want only you to come up, and so things like the world has changed dramatically. Let's go on to page 4. And then measure 23 again goes with that rising. Things will be great when you're downtown. So you're all the way up here at 5 7 8 7 3 5, and then 10 7 5 7 8. Whoops. Okay, and so that's the top line. Again, you're all over the fretboard. That's we could have put it in a lower register, but then you would need a low G to play it. So we end up playing way up here. It sounds cool. It's just harder to play a little bit. Measure 27. Measure 27 is everything. And then you're going to go 5-3. Okay. You, okay, or either of those is perfectly fine. So that's a lot of work on a melody perspective, and so spend a little bit of time. I think that your finger choices here, you're probably going to have to pick some and stick with it, and just you say, hey, when I get to this place in this song, I'm going to lead with my middle finger on the 5th or whatever. It works for you. And because we're we're really sliding all over the first string, we're going to not necessarily have a good choice automatically. Again, I'm not prepared to present this in any meaningful manner, but I do want to talk a little bit about the tough uke, and I do want to talk a tiny bit about the melody structure or the rhythm structure here. So one of the things that I hate as a musician is when I see tied notes in the middle of a measure, it just my brain starts to melt, and you see that all over this first section here. So even in the tough uke, you're and I went ahead and just gave you the 2 3s because it sounds kind of cool. Okay, so that's the first idea. Quarter note, eighth note, tight eighth note. Okay, so listen to the MP3 a few times so you can hear the melody, but then that's really what you're looking at. If you're a note counter, it works, right? You got quarter note, an eighth note followed by 2 tight eighth notes, which equals a quarter note, and then 3 eighth notes at the end. Okay, that's your first melody, that's your rhythm, and that's going to stay through this first section. Okay, then you go grab your F chord. So, and you've got to switch quickly. You can only have one eighth note to get that 0 and then hit the G chord. If it's me and I'm not quite up to speed, I'm going to skip that second 0 there. And I'm going to make that a dotted quarter note, and then I'm going to go grab. That's what we're working on, right? Let me do it one more time just to give you a sense of how fun it would be to be the rhythm player on this. And then we go on, okay? So when you're playing tough uke or you're playing uke 2, that's one of those sections you got to work on. The skill set here is to get from this F chord, hit that 0 while you're getting the G chord on. Because you only have an eighth note to get that 0 on. A lot of work there for probably worth it. Probably worth it. A little hard. Okay. Then the rest of the rhythm issues are just more of the same of that, making sure that you're kind of taking the time in advance of the concert you're going to give or your presentation to just read through it and make sure that it makes sense. I would say that pattern, that C to F to G, happens all the way up until measure blah blah blah, measure 11, 12, measure 12, and then you're going to switch to a little bit simplified, a simplified version of that particular pattern. But it's not exactly simple, because if you look at measure 13, it's rest, boom, boom, rest, boom, boom, rest, boom, boom, rest, boom, boom. Okay, and so that lasts clear up until you get to 17, where now all of a sudden you got to go. For some reason there's an E minor there. I don't know why they put that there. It's because that's where that part where she's just really changing it up, and things are going crazy in the song at that moment. And then if you look down at measure 22, then we got a whole new strum pattern, which is quarter note followed by. So it's done. And those of you who have grown up in the normal ukulele tradition, you're all set for that sort of stuff. Down, down, up, down, up. Yeah, that's where your wheelhouse. That's where we live, right? As ukulele players, when we first get started, that particular pattern goes for a while, and then the last pattern at 28 and 29 is modified to get you back up into that main pattern at the beginning of the song. So do know, measure 29, you go play all the way to 29, and then you're going to go flying back to measure 5 to get started again with the song. Okay. And then last thing we talk about on this is the tough uke, of course. So you've got that initial rhythm, which is really fun to just, you're going to have to almost just memorize that one little section there, because otherwise it's hard to do with looking into paper. So you want to practice that a few times. Chords are not hard. Rhythm is very hard. Then when we start looking at the tough uke, obviously I've got to make some decisions. I got this relatively complicated melody going on, a little hard to fit onto the ukulele, and then I also want to get in these chords, and so I'm probably underrepresenting this really cool background rhythm in order to make the song itself work as a whole. And so just know when you're playing the tough uke, it'll sound great, it'll sound absolutely fine, but you are missing a little bit of that chunk 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 chunk, that's fancy South American style rhythm. Okay, so let's just play a little bit and see if anything jumps out at me we should have talked about. All right, from the top, let's go for measure 5. We already did the intro. Measure 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. When dun 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 dun. Okay, that's first page, feels playable, right? Let's go on to page 2, starting at measure 8. Remember, measure 8, you got that rest at the front of the measure, and you're like, what do I do with that? Don't do anything. Just rest for a second, right? Because here's what's funny. If you're playing with somebody else and they're doing the rhythm, they're going to hit that F chord, and then you kind of come in with the downtown. It'll sound cool. If you don't have a rhythm player, just don't do anything. Rest. Downtown, downtown, okay? and get where you can do it fast. Down, 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 down. Okay. The rest of the measures 9, 10, 11, and 12 are identical. Okay. Uh, and then when you go on to measure 13, now we're going to be playing up the fretboard again, and I think I'll probably go at fifth position. I don't know. Let's try that. Ready? Just listen to the do 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 do. Again, because we're adding in the chord, all of a sudden we got a whole lot more limited choices in terms of which fingering we're going to use positional playing. We're going to have to get those chords in there. And then repeat that same idea repeats in sections 15 and 16, and then just be ready when measure 17 comes up, because that's where that E minor gets dropped in. Okay. How can you lose? How can you lose? No, it doesn't sound that great. I don't know. When something in an arrangement doesn't sound that great, you've got two choices: either fix it, come up with your idea that sounds better, or just play through it as if that's the way it's supposed to go and move on. I'm not positive. I just honestly, it's just such a complicated part of the song that I gave you an idea of what I'm probably going to do. I don't know. I'm going to play that and move on. Okay. The next thing is measures 18 and on. So it's and then this is a kind of a fun moment. It's a G chord with your pinky on it. And then you get to finally get up to this high note. Isn't that beautiful? That really, because that section from 17 through 21 is really this building climax, this moment of bridge, kind of a bridge, and then bringing it up real big. And so that's what I think is really fun. Let's see. Love the tough uke on this one. Nice rain. Joyce is being kind. And Elizabeth says it measures 20 through 27 instead of 3 on the first. Use a 9 on the second string. Okay, there's a fingering option for you to when. And a lot of times I will do that accidentally and get busy copying and pasting and sliding around. And sometimes a fingering choice doesn't work out particularly well. If you're finding that you're jumping all over the fretboard, think about moving it up. That's exactly what Elizabeth is saying is, hey, if I've got most of my song going on up here, and then all of a sudden Gary's giving me a 2 down here, why don't I try playing a 7 up here? Same note, just a little easier to get to. Okay. Then what else do I want to talk about? Measure 25. You've got these 5s, right? You guys have gotten so used to that one, and we've done a ton of those over the last few weeks. It sounds really nice, and then then you're going to be playing that. I love that. I don't know what else to say about it other than it sounds cool. And then that's the end of the song. Really, you're going to play this fancy little do 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 thing before you either go back and play it a second time or you just finish up the song. It's a lot, right? But this is not as the challenge with this song is not the chords and it's not necessarily the melody. It's getting all of the rhythm in there correctly and really hearing the song. This is one of those songs where I feel like you really want to spend a little time. Go listen to the YouTube video. You're on YouTube right now. Go listen to Patty what's her name? Patsy. Go listen to the video, and then not Patsy. What am I trying to say, you guys? Petula. Go listen to Petula. Golly. Go listen to Petula a few times, then listen to the MP3, figure out, what compromises I had to make in order to fit it on the ukulele, whether you can live with those or not, and then put together your version of whatever this is. And I think it's worth the work. I think it's a nice tune. So, all right, very quickly. Tomorrow is our concert, right? We have 3 of the entry-level songs, Frere Jacques, My Spaghetti Monster, and something else. Soft Kitty. And then we have 5 songs this week that turned out to be pretty challenging, right? Those of you who are flower power children, right? I expect you to bring your A game. Okay, I am too young for some of these songs, but I'm gonna to really try to focus in and do my best possible job of playing for you tomorrow. And you're going to do the best possible job you can putting it together. Tell your family that you are booked. You are booked for a concert from 4:30 to 5:30 tomorrow, and you're going to kill it. Bring whatever system of playing that you can play that makes sense to you. So if you are a chord player and that's all you know right now, do that. If you are a melody player and that's all you're working on, work on that. Tough ukers, lots of you guys are at that level. Um, we'll play every song nice and slow so that we got some fighting chance of getting it right. Whatever comes out at the end of the day comes out. And then Saturday, you're writing a song again. A couple of you are actually doing that. And I think as your musical skills and as your broad perception of what music is really about um, continues to grow and expand, I don't think that you want to escape the idea that you should probably compose a few things just so you can get that feeling of what it takes to put a song together. It turns out sometimes it's 15 minutes right after you step out of the shower, and sometimes it's 3.5 weeks of misery to end up with something that's pure junk. And so I got Spaghetti Monster. I wrote that, came out pretty good, right? I got lots and lots of junky songs, and I'd be happy to share with you as well. So, all right. So I think that's it. Let's wrap it up today. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope don't think you got to play everything as as written. Get it close and move on. All right. Let's see what I did. What did I miss? Great lesson. Signed Moondoggy is down. All right. 8 on the second string. Linda, yes, 8 on the second string. Okay. What else we got here? Hasta mañana. Have a great day, Mike. Good to see you soon. Lots of practice on this one. Yeah, this is a toughie, right? It's don't worry about getting it perfect by tomorrow. Just come and have some fun with it. Like toughie on this one. See you tomorrow. Yeah, thanks, Gail. Glad you were here. Cindy, good to see you. Sounds good on Logi. Yeah, Logi. Right, this one when you got those melody on the high string and you got a Logi, it sounds pretty cool, right? Carrie, we need a second verse for Spaghetti Monster. There's no mention of the holy garlic bread or the beer mountain, the beer volcano. I think it is. Patty, have a great day. Linda, yes to Logi. Logi always sounds nice. I'm writing but not sharing yet. Joyce, come on, be brave. Thanks. That was very helpful. Let's run with the finger position. Yeah, you saw me struggling with the finger position too, Linda. So you're in good company. We're both going to work on that. Thought I did well. Had time to practice before class. Yay, Renee! Renee, practice, you guys. Somebody have a talk with her that she's losing her mind. Pauline, good to see you. Have a great day. Luis, thanks for being here. And have a wonderful evening. Barbara, good to see you. Elizabeth, I'm delighted your chat machine is working again. It makes me happy. You were in high school when it was popular, so it might be one of the songs that you have a fond memory of. Hopefully, Tanya, be good. I'll talk to you soon. Jerry, have a wonderful night. Kathy, you're always welcome, Kathy. Thank you for being here. Caitlin, keep that kid in line, will you? Kat, thank you for everything. See you tomorrow. Going to have my game face on. That's what we got, right? Oh, I'm going to play music tomorrow. Nice. Violet, have a great night. Fran, good to see you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Thanks for putting up with my poor playing. I will see all of you tomorrow at 4:30 Mountain Standard Time, which is whatever time it is in your neighborhood. And I will see you guys later. Have a great night.